Hey guys, it is Tim and James with Tabletop Terrors, and this is our RPG a Day video. This is day number 24. We're in the home stretch, and this has been a blast. Today's question is, what is the game you're most likely to give others as a gift?
So some of these questions on the brigadecon.org website have sort of an explanation, a little bit more about them. This one doesn't specify RPG. This one doesn't specify tabletop role-playing game or any other style. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this because I moved it and I feel like it might be too close. What I'm going to do...
I'm switching away from the question. Don't crucify me. I'm going to check the levels.
Okay, so Tim, what's the... Oh, you changed it.
The question
is, Pat. Pat sits in the corner when we do videos.
So, Pat, where's my money?
I would say that I would
Pat's
probably...
always borrowing money.
I would probably gift a board game to somebody. It really depends on the person. This is 100% depends, but it most likely would be a not too confrontational video game, the likes of like Settlers of Catan. I say Catan,
You said video
not
game.
Catan. I meant board game.
Yep.
I was looking at video games on my shelf, and then I was talking about Pat. So, Pat, that's your bad.
Mother, Pat. That's who. Sorry. Pat doesn't. He's not mic'd.
No. So, board game. But like I said, something along the lines of Settlers of Catan, where you're a little bit against each other, but you don't usually actively attack each other.
It's more about success of the individual and who has the greatest success.
Or a cooperative game, like Pandemic. Another really good one is a game called Flashpoint. It's relatively cheap, but super cool.
I only played that
cooperative game.
one time, and it was so fun.
Really
Flashpoint
cool game.
Was really good.
But those are like sort of what I would call gateway board games are games that I would absolutely be most likely to give to others as a gift.
Cool. I'm going to go at a hair meta here. I'm going to traipse over into the meta category. It depends on the person because here's the thing. If I know them well enough to be giving them a gift, I'm probably aware of what game they've been saying that they want.
Exactly.
So, for instance, right now, had Matt Click not stumbled into a horde of
menagerie
Mouse Guard RPG books, I know he was really into Mouse Guard. So I go, if I was going to get Matt a gift, you Mouse Guard. I knew Barker from Be a Better Game Master didn't own Dread, and that was his favorite game.
He didn't own the physical copy.
He didn't own the physical copy. He just used the PDF. And so when his birthday came around, we got him Dread.
Yeah.
Because that was the one that he was like, oh, okay.
But I guess, okay, so I would rephrase this question to, for our sake, to say, if somebody asks you, hey, this person's kind of getting into RPGs, or kind of getting into board games, or video games, I guess any games, whatever, and I'm trying to get them a gift, what would you suggest? Because like you said, you're like, if you know the person, I mean, it depends on if they do play or they don't play, and it depends on, but like, somebody was like, they're kind of in RPGs, I can't give any more information, what game would you say? They've already played D&D. Let's just go ahead and say that they own D&D. Because that would be the one I would suggest.
I'd suggest 5e because for the main reason that it has, I think, the largest support system for new players right now.
And in general,
on YouTube,
it's very popular.
Right.
So it would be a little easier, I think, to find people to play with. Not to say that you couldn't find people to play Edge of the Empire or Fate, but I'd be like, dude, 5e, man. Everybody's playing 5e.
Saw a really interesting article, actually, on EN World about... This is going to... 50,000 thumbs downs! But it was a retailer talking about how they're not selling nearly as much Pathfinder as they are now.
As they used to be?
Yes, sorry, as they are now.
Yeah.
Because there are still diehard people that are buying it consistently, but the number of new people coming in and getting into Pathfinder is way less.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know why I mentioned that, other than to get 50 thumbs downs. But
50,000.
50,000. Listen, if we get 50,000...
That means you have more than 50,000 views. I'm not sad about
I'm fine with that. But, so they have D&D, boom, etc. I would say...
Yeah, they're looking for something a little different, we'll say.
You know what I would do then? I would get him into Fate.
Okay, yeah.
I
think that's a good
I'd
one.
probably get him into Fate, mainly because it's free.
Yeah, especially because you can get into it for free.
Well, I'm imagining this scenario where I get them Fate and then learn it.
Yeah.
To play with them. Hey, let's get Fate and learn it together.
Yeah, really. Okay, so... really any game where I'm like, that's a cool game. Like, I don't know what every RPG is. I know there are probably thousands at this point, different systems, whether they're one page or they're a full book, or I've never heard of them, or they're in a different language.
There's an incredible, it's called the OR report, ORR report, and we're on the list, we get it. It's from Roll20. And it shows the popularity of the games that are played on Roll20 in order.
So, yeah.
And so it's not the all-encompassing list, but it's 25, 30, maybe 50.
It might be, but it might be one of the best ways to actively say, no, this is literally the amount of time people play it.
Sure. Now, I don't know how many things are immediately disqualified because they're not set up to be played on Roll20.
Yeah, like Dread. We'll never make that list unless they find a clever way to play it.
So there are going to be those, but I think
Dread is a game you play with a Jenga tower, so it's hard to play online.
Right. But I think that it's a good...
Yeah, it's a good baseline,
benchmark,
at least.
Right.
Benchmark. No, it's better. Benchmark.
So I would say that I'd probably do Fate because I know, based on the people who make videos about it and what I've seen of it, it's about storytelling, it's about narrative, and when I show somebody tabletop RPGs, I want that to be the focus.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, is it would be relatively limited to the games that I know, because I wouldn't suggest a game that I was like...
Someone just recently commented... And I'm sorry that I don't have it pulled up to know exactly who it was, but they just commented that Savage Worlds is a very simple, very good introductory system. I really want to get into some Savage Worlds. Honestly, I want to know these games well enough that we can have absolute tabletop products for Fate and for Savage Worlds. Like, I would love a Dragon Grin Fate setting. So any of you know Fate out there, I might be picking your brain. Comment below. Fate Copper Jackals, that would be so cool. Picking
it would be
copper aspects. Everything has to have copper in front of it.
Everything.
Copper Fate. Copper
Fate. But basically, yeah, it would depend on a lot of different things, but there are a few solid choices where I would say, well, do they like Star Wars? Well, the Fantasy Flight Star Wars series are great, or, Fate is good, or, you can get them the Monster Manual if they don't have that already for D&D. So
yeah.
I would say that, yeah. Basically, there are a lot of options, we'll say. This is a very
you would do
broad answer.
What was your answer? I don't remember.
A board game. It said, what game would you give?
So you do a board game. I would do
But then
Fate.
then we created the hypothetical situation that they don't have that many, you don't know the person, and someone is asking you for a recommendation.
So what would you do? What would you do? If James or I were like, hey, we're looking for, what game would you get? I'm not saying you need to get us a gift. But what I'm saying is...
You can find our wish list on Amazon.
We don't have it.
We don't have one.
But what are yours? Down below. Or what's the game that you would buy someone else as a gift?
Yeah.
This has been RPG a day. This is I did it to myself.
You did it to yourself.
Because what I always do is I go to look at the date we're filming, right? And I'm like, it's easy. You could just look at the day. No, you can't look at the day.
Not on this day.
This was question number 24. But what you need to do is you need to register for a free online convention called BrigadeCon. Go to brigadecon.org and register now because you need to be a part. It's October 29th, and you still have plenty of time. It's going to be fantastic. So until next time, may your dice roll high.